Today's DIY is this leather spice rack, which kind of goes along with my bar. I got this gin and tonic set from Cost Plus World Market probably a year ago, and it comes with these blend of spices and herbs that you use to infuse your gin and tonics. Some of my favorite little blends are cardamom and hibiscus. But yeah, so they're these cute little vials that I really like, but I feel like it was missing some sort of display. So that's where this leather spice rack comes in, and it's pretty much just bent leather with holes in it, a little wood base, and it holds these little spice vials perfectly. It also kind of goes well with my little Southwest vibe that I have going on back here. So stick around and we'll get into the DIY. The materials you're going to need are a piece of wood, a piece of leather, a leather hole punch set, a hammer, some nails, and an X-Acto knife. Start by choosing the right size hole punch for your spice vials. A 1-inch hole punch worked perfect for mine. Measure out your piece of leather and see how it's going to wrap around the piece of wood. Fold it in half and try to find the center point of the piece of leather. This will be the center mark of the hole punches. Draw a straight line down the center of the piece of leather and then take your hole punch and start spacing out where you want your spice vials. I drew a line at the top and bottom of the hole punch to create a guideline going down the center of the piece of leather. Then I figured out the spacing of each hole punch I would need in order to get 8 holes on this piece of leather. I spaced out each line to about 1 1/4 inch. I had a little extra on the end, so I drew a line, and I'll come back and cut that later. Now this is my first time using one of these leather hole punchers, and I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it actually was. I guess that's what I get for buying a $10 hole punching set off Amazon. So I highly suggest doing a little research before purchasing one of these. I'm not going to link the one I got at the bottom, but I did suck it up and make it work, and it just took a little longer than I expected. So starting, you want to place your leather hole puncher on top of the leather and then use a hammer to hammer on top of it. Now I'm sure there's special hammers or mallets you want to use instead of a regular hammer, but I just used what I had at home and just went at it. After a few tries, it didn't really give me a perfect hole as I wanted, but as I went on, I could see it was kind of piercing the other side of the leather, which I thought was a good sign. So I just continued to mark my evenly spaced holes down the center of the leather. Then I flipped the piece of leather around and just went on top of the holes and continued to punch in on the other side. I could see the leather hole puncher breaking in parts of the hole, so then I went in and used my X-Acto knife to cut around the hole. Once I got that sweet victory of the first hole and figured out that it was possible to cut a hole this way, I just continued with the rest of the holes down the center of the line of the leather. So I'm going to speed it up and add some fun, royalty-free music for you while I show you this whole process. So now that I have all my holes punched out, I went in and kind of just cleaned around each of the holes a bit, trying to remove any frays around the holes, but the way leather ages, the frays will eventually age really nicely. I cut off that last little excess piece and made sure it was perfectly aligned with the piece of wood I'm putting at the bottom of the spice rack. Lastly, I took my piece of leather and wrapped it around the piece of wood, and then took some really small nails and hammered them into the piece of wood and leather, securing them both. So all in all, I'm really happy with the way this came out. I'm a little bummed that my leather hole puncher didn't work very well, but I love the way my tubes look in this little spice rack. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of this DIY in the comments. And for more DIYs, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and also follow me over on Instagram. My handle is Flowers and Folk, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!